moving on from Boxing Day, I just wanted to share with you that I have my album kind of in a state of that final stretch. So I've gone through, I now have all of my photos printed that I want to include. I've gone back and filled in some things that were missing. For example, this was meant to be a photo with Santa, and there's a whole story behind why the photo with Santa did not happen. It involved a lot of screaming, and it's kind of a horrific memory, really. But meeting Olaf, much more happy story. So I've printed that, got it in the pocket, things like that. I still have a few things that I need to write down, and that includes that story, but I have a spot for it there. My before and after has the after photo printed out, things like that, where I knew that there was a space I'd saved for a spot to go back. But then I've also gone through everything, including the days after Christmas, New Year, all of that sort of thing, and decided all the pictures that I wanted to go into this particular book and printed them out at the right size for the pockets. But it does mean that I then end up with empty spaces. So I have my 6x8 that I did in yesterday's video, but I haven't added anything here yet. I know that I want to include these two together, for example, but I need to do a journaling card for here. But anyway, I have all of the photos that I want to include printed out. And my strategy this year for Christmas activities that were after Boxing Day, so the sorts of things like getting together with friends for Christmas cake and coffee kind of thing, that actually happens on, in our schedule, that happens on the 27th, 28th, 29th, those sorts of days. I'm still including them, but because I have had that maintenance session where I realized that my album is getting very full very quickly, and I don't have a lot of room for a lot more bulk in my album, I'm doing mostly photos and journaling cards for these things and not adding a lot of embellishments that would have depth. So I can add a little bit, so for example, this is going to be a journaling card, and I can add a little bit of embellishment in the corner, but I'm more likely to use things that are going to be flat and not use pop dots, not use buttons, things that take up a lot of vertical space, because I want to make sure that I can include all those photos that I printed out without getting my album to a point where it's overfull and it's going to get damaged. So I just find that kind of constantly checking, I'm constantly opening and closing the album at this point to make sure that everything's going to work. But I also feel like the end is in reach because it means I've printed all the photos. I can look through and just page by page go, right, I need a story here. I need to put these all on this card and then custom sew one of those little 4x6 page protectors that I've been putting in between. I feel like the end is really clear, and I have a nice workload as it is. It doesn't feel like, oh my goodness, this project is so big and I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So I do quite like that feeling, and it makes me able to create this late in the Christmas calendar without feeling like, oh my goodness, Christmas is going on and on. And I know there are all sorts of differing ideas on when Christmas season ends. We go right through the 6th here, and I know a lot of people are ready for the tree to come down on the 26th. It makes me a little sad because it's not what works for me, but I totally respect that it's what works for other families. There we go. So today I'm going to go ahead and finish this entry that you see here with all of these photos. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 photos. And just a little bit of extra space. So I need to do a journaling card here and the journaling that's going to go here. That's what I'm going to share with you today. Really simple. I'm not going to use a traditional lined journaling card, but using this 3x4 card, which is from the same cut down sheet that I used to get this camera. And I'm just writing in the empty space of the card. And then that's going to go in that pocket. So again, I have something nice and flat, but tells the story behind these 3 pictures. Then the back of this is going to coordinate with this story. So I'm going to go ahead and put these back to back so that I can trim the corners of the photo to match the rounded corners on the Project Life card. There is a Project Life punch that does the exact curve of the cards, and the embarrassing thing is I even have it somewhere, but I'm hoping that it's with all those ink pads and everything else that I had packed away to clear my desk before this project, because I have not found it yet. But I have not unpacked that little box of things that I tidied away from my desk. So fingers crossed it's in there. Otherwise, I have tidied it away so well that I can't find it. And we all know what that kind of tidying is like, where you put it in a really special place, and it's so special you don't remember where it is. And I don't know if anybody's done that with Christmas presents this year. I had one at the 11th hour that I remembered where I'd hidden it, but oh goodness. Okay, so that's going to go there, and I'm going to sew a page protector for this, but I've shown you that in another video, so I won't waste time with that today. And this photo is going to go here in the middle. I'd rather have a little bit more journaling space than show everything that's on the table, including the cake crumbs. So I'm just going to trim off the bottom of that. And this was a 3x4, but I've now just made it a little bit shorter. And this is going to go across the middle. And then a little bit of space top and bottom for embellishment and journaling. So I want to bring in some of these labels that I haven't used for a while. I'm looking to see if I still have some Christmas colors, and I do. I have a red and a green. So go ahead and use those. I'm going to use just a red and a green label, one tucked behind above the photo on this edge. I'm just going to run them right off the edge of the card. And then on the diagonal, this one down here. I put this one on top of the photo actually. And trim off the extra. So I have a little space for my journaling, and then I wanted to add a tiny bit of embellishment as well. This will go right here at the bottom. Could place it up here is probably a better design if there's no writing, but this gives me a little bit of space to write, so I'll bring it down. And this one is going to go up here. Oops. And just staple this. I think I'll follow this diagonal line so that although it's on an angle, it's quite easy to read. I originally went like this to make it the full tag, but I prefer if all of that text can sit, well, most of that text can sit on the horizontal line. I think I prefer that to having it all the way out there. So it's going to run over a little bit here at the edge. And I'm going to staple this, but I don't want my staple to go right through to the other side where the photo is, so I'm just pulling that photo back momentarily, which is why I don't add a heap of adhesive, and that way I don't have any staples in that picture. Then add my journaling here, and I think I might put a date number. I'll put my 27 in this space here, but then that's it. Just added a little bit of journaling here. I'm going to add in the names here, but I won't do that on camera. And this is going to get sewn into a 4x6 page protector, just like this one that I did earlier. So same idea that I did in that video, which would have been 22, I think. 22 or 23. And those will fit right in between there. And then I'm going to add the number here. I'm glad I took a moment to look because it's the 28th, not the 27th like I was thinking. So just add my 2 and my 8 here, and I'm hoping that because I kept everything else flat, the thickers won't have added too much depth here, and that everything is still going to close properly. If not, I'll go back and I'll take that off, but hopefully it should work. So that's how I'm going to do all the photos that I have left, and then in our last video I'll show you the whole album all put together. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye!